Dr. Naomi Greaves, 37, a university anthropologist and historical cryptographer. She's sent to Blackwater to survey a newly uncovered crypt before developers fill the land for a reservoir. What begins as a routine excavation quickly unravels into something no science can explain. Title: The Forgotten Crypt of Blackwater, a journey into fear. Blackwater wasn't even on the GPS. Naomi had to follow handwritten directions past 2 gas stations, a bait shop, and a crumbling church with a stained glass window blacked out from the inside. She wasn't here for ghost stories. This was a salvage survey. Developers were building a dam that would flood the valley. But before that, they were legally required to clear any historical remnants. Last week, a sinkhole cracked open behind the Blackwater Cemetery. Locals didn't dig. They just built a fence around it and started whispering again. Naomi met the town contact at dusk, a man named Cyrus Bell, mid-60s, thick accent, dead eyes. He gave her a single flashlight and a wand folder. "You won't need long. Just mark it and move on." "What's down there?" He didn't blink. "Something we ain't talked about in 50 years. The sinkhole had widened into a sheer drop, 15 feet straight down, then sloping into darkness. Wooden supports from the 1800s still stood, half swallowed by roots and soil. She lowered herself in. The air was cold, not natural cold, burial cold, like the ground had forgotten how to warm itself. Her boots crunched onto stone. Carvings lined the walls. Not in English, not Latin. Something older, angular, scarred. It wasn't just a crypt. It was sealed. And someone had tried to keep it that way. At the end of the corridor was a door. Rusted iron, split down the middle. There were handprints on it. Many, all small. She brushed one lightly. And behind the door, something breathed. Naomi stepped back from the door. The breath, if that's what it was, had been soft, like wind down a throat that had no lungs left. It wasn't animal. It wasn't air. She told herself it was airflow, a vent, something explainable. But she still checked her recorder, just in case. The playback was silent. Until it wasn't. A whisper, buried under static. "Let it sleep." She hadn't said anything. No one had. She moved down the corridor, documenting what she could. The walls were carved in a strange repeating pattern. Circular symbols, always clustered in groups of 6. It felt more like a containment script than a language. Then she found the plaque. Embedded in the stone, covered in moss and ash, she scraped it clean. "Here lies what was taken. Do not call it back." Dated 1821. It wasn't a burial crypt. It was a holding place. Naomi radioed Cyrus from below. Did anyone actually open this door? The response crackled, then went silent, finally in a static, warped voice. "That door was never meant to be found again. You mark it and get out. That's the job." But Naomi's light caught something in the dust. Footprints, small, bare. They led from the edge of the sinkhole to the sealed door and stopped. She felt a vibration under her boots. Subtle, rhythmic, like distant footsteps, but upside down. Walking beneath her, that's when she noticed the lock bolts. They weren't built to keep people out. They were bent from the inside, like someone had been pushing to get free. And recently, the iron rust was broken, fresh scratches. Her hand hovered near the seam. She didn't touch it. The door thumped from the other side. Once, deliberate, back at the surface, Cyrus stood waiting. "You heard it, didn't you?" he said. Naomi nodded. "You don't document this place," he muttered. "You seal it. You burn what can burn, and then you walk away." She looked at him. Why? His face was pale. Because something in that crypt didn't die, it was put away. Naomi didn't sleep that night. She replayed the audio again and again. The whisper, "Let it sleep," wasn't distorted by signal loss. It was whispered directly into the mic. Too close, too intentional. But she had been alone in the crypt, hadn't she? The next morning, she returned to the site, alone again. Cyrus never showed. The rope ladder creaked more than usual as she descended. The air was heavier now, like it had sunk even deeper into the earth. She expected dust. Silence. What she found was movement. The footprints were deeper. And there were more of them. Still small, still barefoot, and now they circled the door. Not toward it, but away. Toward the far wall. Toward a place that hadn't been opened yesterday. A section of the crypt wall had cracked, just wide enough to crawl through. She hesitated, ached to turn back. But the academic in her, the one still hungry for discovery, won out. She climbed in. The tunnel wasn't part of the original design. It sloped downward in a spiral, narrowing as it went. The walls weren't carved by tools. They were scraped out. Long clawed marks as if something had burrowed from beneath. 50 feet down, she found it. A second chamber, circular, unmarked. In the center, a stone cradle, small, and inside it, wrapped in rotted linen, something barely human-shaped. Bones far too thin. Rib cage malformed, skull elongated, and no eyes, but the jaw was open. And it was lined with tiny teeth, stacked in layers like a shark's. She stirred, frozen. Her recorder clicked on by itself, and this time the whisper wasn't gentle. "You looked." The chamber began to tremble, not violently, but rhythmically, like a breath. And from behind her, in the tunnel, fingertips sliding against stone, then bare feet, Naomi fled, climbed out of the tunnel, out of the crypt, into the fading sunlight where Cyrus finally waited, rifle in hand. He didn't ask what she saw. He simply said, "You saw the cradle. Now it'll follow you." Naomi didn't speak for a long time. She sat in the motel tub, clothes still on, shaking as the faucet hissed. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. Not from cold, from the realization. The thing in the cradle hadn't died. It had been born that way, trapped, hidden, remembered by no one. Until she looked, she checked her recorder again. The whisper, "You looked," had changed pitch on every replay. Not random, layered. When she isolated the frequencies, a pattern emerged. 6 tones, same spacing, same pattern carved in the walls. She ran it through an old dialect filter and froze. It wasn't a message. It was a name, one no living language used anymore. She searched the library for anything that matched it. One result. An unscanned journal entry dated 1844. Handwritten, unsigned. It learns the shape of voices before it finds the mouths. We gave it no words. Now it uses ours. The more you remember it, the more it remembers you. That night she heard it again. Not in the crypt, in her motel room. A soft, dragging noise. Not footsteps, fingers. Moving slowly across the carpet behind the bed. She turned on every light. Empty, until she saw the mirror, and in the reflection, beneath her bed, a figure, small, bent, smiling with too many teeth. She didn't scream. She couldn't. Instead, she whispered, "I'm not yours." And it answered, "Not yet, but you spoke me." And that is the oldest form of invitation. She left Blackwater before sunrise, told no one, reported nothing. But on the road out, she passed a sign she swore hadn't been there before. It read, "Blackwater, Pop, 214. Yesterday, it had said 213. Naomi drove all day, then all night, But no matter how far she got from Blackwater, the sky never seemed to brighten. She pulled off at a rest stop just after dawn, washed her face, didn't look in the mirror, not anymore. Her phone buzzed, no number, one audio file attached. She played it on speaker. At first, wind, then a whisper. You can't run from a name you carry in your bones. She smashed the phone, but even then, she could still hear it, faintly echoing behind her breathing, like it had followed her lungs. She contacted the university, told them she was done, no fieldwork, no publishing. But 2 days later, the first draft of her report uploaded itself to the research server. No title, no author listed, just 6 words. The mouth below remembers the cradle. Her inbox filled with questions, and one message stood out. It's not bound to Blackwater anymore. It's looking for the ones who hear. Weeks passed. Naomi moved 3 times, changed her name, cut ties. But wherever she went, she began to see it again. In mirrors, in puddles, in screens that stayed black just a second too long. Teeth and silence, and something crawling closer. The town of Blackwater is gone now. The dam project went through. The valley flooded. But strange things happen near the reservoir. Boats drift without wind. Voices echo from the surface when no one's talking. And when the water's still, locals say they see a woman standing just beneath it. Not drowning, listening. Because once you've heard the whisper, you carry the name too. And what sleeps in the cradle doesn't forget. You've been listening to Haunted Chronicles. If you hear music in the woods, don't follow it. Some legends don't fade. They just wait for someone new to believe in them. Subscribe for more true-feeling horror stories that never stay buried. Like, share, and remember, if you find Ravenwood, you were never supposed to leave. Haunted Chronicles, where every echo might be someone still trapped inside.